Ash, I know what it's like to feel different.
I'm not different. Am I?
We all are. Him especially. But there's something kind of fantastic about that, isn't there?
Ever since I was little, I loved watching movies. And as I grew up, one of my favorite directors became Wes Anderson. And I don't mean to sound pretentious when I say that, but just, I love him because the man makes movies that he wants to make. He has a unique style of his own that's not easily replicated, and I admire him for that. But in his own filmography, I feel like that Fantastic Mr. Fox stands out and is different from the rest of his works. But just, how is it different? First things first, it's a kids movie. It has the lowest parental rating out of all of his movies. While most of his projects up until this point were more focused on dark subject matter, death, or divorce, or like, fish. Not only that, it's the only direct adaptation he's ever made. Fantastic Mr. Fox was a direct adaptation of the popular children's book by Roald Dahl. While The Grand Budapest was heavily inspired by an early 20th century Austrian author that I can't pronounce, Stefan Zweig, maybe? It's fine, you get it. Grand Budapest was not a direct adaptation, but Fantastic Mr. Fox? It was. It was his first animated movie, which gave him more freedom than he's ever had before. So he could try different camera angles, different lighting, different editing techniques that he can't always do in reality with his live-action movies.
By the way, you look unbelievably beautiful tonight. You're practically glowing. Maybe it's the lighting.
Not only was it his first animated movie, it had an all-star cast behind it, with George Clooney and Meryl Streep in the leading roles. It was nominated for a Best Animated Feature Film, which it did not win. It lost to Up. Great movie, not upset. It was not his first nomination, but it started the streak of every movie since then getting a nomination, even with Grand Budapest winning, but this video isn't about that, so we're not talking about that. But that's all stuff you can find with a quick Google. So just, how is Fantastic Mr. Fox different? Let's dig a little deeper. Wes had the actors record all their lines outside of the standard recording booths. Wes opted for recording deep in the woods, or up in an attic, or underground in a sewer to get the most authentic performance possible. And he sure as shit didn't do that for Isle of Dogs, let me tell ya. And the authenticity didn't just stop there. Majority of the props were made from real materials, from the trees to the sand to, fox, maybe not fox. This authenticity and attention to detail is what elevates this movie to the next level. But from a story perspective, it has all the aspects of a Wes Anderson movie, stylistically, of course. He continues the theme of children act more like adults than adults really do. He fills it with insert shots. There's a dysfunctional family with a broken father and son dynamic. He doesn't understand Ash, and he doesn't even really try to. He has some of the most symmetrical shots of his career, as once again, it's an animated film, and he was like, ooh, I can do crazy things now. There are even hints to a sibling rivalry between Christopherson and Ash. Even though they aren't brothers, Ash feels like the black sheep, and Christopherson is just a hunk and better than him at everything. And Wes Anderson follows the classic theme of escapism. Fantastic Mr. Fox, or whatever you want to call him, tries to escape his life, which happened because he tried to escape his nature.
Honey, I'm 7 non-Fox years old now. My father died at 7.5. I don't want to live in a hole anymore, and I'm going to do something about it.
Deep, right? We follow Mr. Fox through his life, and as he tries to escape the life he's created for himself, that he got by trying to escape his nature. Because he loved his wife. Cute. The influence of Roald Dahl shines through this story, where there's a moral lesson about accepting change. And you can't always completely change your nature, but that doesn't mean you have to hide it, which is kind of the moral of the story.
I think I have this thing where I need everybody to think I'm the greatest, the quote-unquote fantastic Mr. Fox. And if they aren't completely knocked out and dazzled and kind of intimidated by me, then I don't feel good about myself. Foxes traditionally like to court danger, hunt prey, and outsmart predators, and that's what I'm actually good at. I think at the end of the day,
I know. We're wild animals.
It's one of the few children's movies that I've seen that has themes that attract and resonate with more than just kids, but also with adults. Maybe it's the imperfect nature of the film that doesn't draw you from a basic children's plot of there's an obstacle and then they overcome it and it's happily ever after. The whole goal of the movie is to not live in a hole, and by the end, he's still in a hole, just a different hole. The imperfect ending, along with the lessons learned along the way, was something I had not come across a lot before viewing this movie. So there's a lot of reasons of how this movie is different, but I don't think I'm asking the right question. Why does this movie make me feel different? I didn't watch this movie when I was young. Probably watched it when I was like 14 or something. So then I don't have any like childhood nostalgia related to it or anything like that. I didn't read the book, that's for sure. But it doesn't change the fact that I've seen it at least 10 times. And I think the best answer I could come up with was Fantastic Mr. Fox has heart. It was a story that Wes Anderson wanted to tell, and he took his time to make sure this movie was perfect. Movie studios would rather put out, a heartless movie that's kind of disingenuous, that, just a rehash maybe, and just makes millions upon billions of dollars like The Lion King, when there really are good children's movies out there that do the same thing but better, like The Lion King. You know what I mean? Not to say all kids' movies are bad, but the majority seem to be leaning towards a more heartless, let's put bright colors and cute characters just to make kids laugh kind of thing. Like Trolls. Like, fuck Trolls, bro. And I think Fantastic Mr. Fox is a good example that if you give somebody with talent creative control, they can make a really good, touching story out of it. Full of heart that will inspire and impact not only kids, but adults too. And I think that's the bottom line. Wes Anderson could have taken this project and made it just another watered down children's adaptation, just, as a cash grab. But he didn't. He took the time, he made it personal, he made it genuine and relatable, not just to me, but to millions of people. Kids, young, old, adults, people that have to pay their mortgage, that kind of thing. It's something that appeals to everyone, and for some reason, I watch it when I'm sad, and it makes me feel better. So maybe that's how it's different. Despite any criticisms toward the movie, it makes me feel, and I think that's the most important thing.
How was that?
That was a good toast.